Hello everyone, welcome to Red, White, and Blue Woodworking, and today I'm going to show you how to make some really simple scrap wood coasters. Stay tuned. Here I'm just going through my scrap wood buckets, and you're going to want to find a piece that is 2.5 inches wide, 0.25 inches wide, 0.75 inches wide, and if you don't have those, you can just cut them down at the table saw. But I happen to have 3 pieces with those parameters because I have a lot of scrap wood. So they add up to being around 3.5 inches wide, and every coaster needs to be square, so they need to be 3.5 inches long too. Here I'm just cutting the oak strip that's 1/4 inch thick, and this one I'm cutting to 17.25 inches, and that's what I cut all of them to. Here it's starting to come together a little bit more. So since this was scrap wood, there was some paint on the end of this one, piece at the end, and I would recommend sanding that. I came back later, wiped the glue, and sanded it down after realizing the bond was not as secure as if it was just grain on grain. And here I'm just using Titebond 2, and you're going to want to apply a pretty liberal amount of that because there's nothing else in between like dowels. And here I'm just clamping. Sorry for the awkward angle, I have a really small shop, and it makes it kind of hard to do videos in the shop, so usually that's why I'm on my porch. And I'll just let that sit for 45 minutes after I get these clamps on, and make sure to scrape the paint, and then we will move to the planer. So here I just keep planing until it is all smooth, and I left some extra space on the ends of these coasters just so I can cut away any snipe that there may be later. Sorry again for the bad angle, but here I'm just trying to show you the length, which is actually 17.25, and then I divided that by 4 because I want to make 4 coasters. So here I'm moving to the miter saw, and I've set up a stop block, which really saves a lot of time, and I was cutting them 3.5 inches long as well as their width also being 3.5 inches. This really sped up production as I was making 18 coasters that day. So this part right here is just simply securing a little jig for the coasters to sit in while you're sanding them, and this really speeds things up too, as it's not rocking all over the table, and it just secures it, and you can just keep putting them in and out. So here's the most boring part, obviously, of the build. Super simple, just sand both sides several times, several grits. I ended with 220 because that's going to keep them smooth, and it's going to allow the finish to really set in better. And after I sand, I'm going to move over to routing them. So I have one of these tables that you can screw closer together and it holds wood in. I'm not really sure what they're called, but I used this and it worked well, but it was pretty slow. And you just do both sides just to make sure that they are smooth. And after this, I did a quick sanding, which I did off video, just to make sure all the sides were smooth. So here I'm just applying some finish. I'm using polyurethane, and I know it's not food safe, but it is really good for coasters because it is very water resistant. And I'd recommend applying at least 3 coats, maybe even 5, up to 5, just so you don't have rings when you're putting glasses on there, and just to make sure that you are applying enough. And you're just going to want to let them dry for a good 5 to 6 hours between coats. Hey everybody, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed, learned something new. I know it was really simple, but I wanted to get a second video off pretty quick after my first video, which was the chair video. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and subscribe and look at that video. if you're interested in making chairs. Also, I will be making the cutting board video in the following week, and hopefully the American flag 1776 will follow in 2 weeks, but we will see about that. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned.